Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back, and I apologize for the long gap in videos. I've been really busy with work, so I am just literally catching up with everything. But we are getting into Married at First Sight Australia series 11, and we are now on episode 25, and it is confessions of the couch time, as I always say, aka the commitment ceremony. Anyway, before we get into it, as I always ask consistently, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's speak about this episode, shall we not? Because all I can say is quite a few people got their asses called out on that couch. It was not a comfortable viewing at all. Anyway, we know that Jade and Ridge are good at the moment. I would say that they're in, their honeymoon phase, their honeymoon land at the end of the day. I don't think they've had a test of anything as yet that would truly rock the boat or see how they would deal with any type of confrontation. So we'll see how that goes. Lucinda and Tim on a high too. I mean, he was slow burning that. Like proper slow burning that. He still is a bit of a slow burn, but after the episodes I've watched, he's kind of moving on a little bit when it comes to Lucinda. Yeah, we'll see how we'll see how that goes between them. All I would hope is Tim, once he starts to open up in regards to Lucinda and hopefully sees that there could be something with him and Lucinda, I just hope he just doesn't fall back to his tried and tested shut himself off because he can't deal with all these emotions, X, Y and Z, and then out comes the Tin Man moniker all over again at the end of the day. So I sometimes though think Lucinda can get a little bit overboard when it comes to Tim, like because she's such an expressive and open person. So when Tim gets to a certain position in terms of like she sees those little cracks forming and that's what she wants, she does get overzealous and overexcited, and I think there's times where she kind of has to tamp it down just a little bit, not so much that she disappears within herself in that sense like she did last time, but I would always be a little bit guarded and a little bit wary when it came to Tim, because yes, he's opening up and yes, it's a bloody good thing to see, it's a great thing to see, but then also on the flip side of kind of like I kind of have to protect the essence of who I am until I can see that this man is going to be all in it with me where I am and come to the level that I'm at. So as you can see, before everybody's getting ready and everybody's talking about the issue, the battle that is Sarah and Tim at the end of the day, for me, what Sarah did was emotional cheating. Yes, she says she didn't go the physical hug, but nobody will know that except for Sarah and her ex at the end of the day, because Tim is not necessarily going to know that, because this girl literally, it seemed as though disappeared over a weekend and even disappeared for that date with her ex for a couple of hours and came back at midnight, do you know what I mean? But there was plenty, it seems like other opportunities that she could have had to meet this man, and they were texting, they were texting gun-ho with each other. It weren't no one little text here, there and everywhere to say, oh, I'm going to be in Perth, where are you, what you doing? I believe her ex knew what the fuck she was doing. I believe her ex knew she was on this program, married to someone else, but I think he wanted to see if he could still get her to literally come and do his bidding, which is what she did and what she showed him she would do at the end of the day. So, do I believe that she probably slept with him? Yes, I do. I do believe it. And all I kept on thinking is, I swear to God, if Tim gets on that couch and writes stay, I wouldn't know what else to say. Like, seriously, I would not know what else to say in regards to it. So, Tim was definitely on a high. They were both on a high until all this situation came out. So, he's saying that his heart is broken. And all I'm saying is there are a lot of red flags before all of this, Tim. A lot of red flags with this girl, but he chose to ignore them, to be fair, because he literally wanted to try and build this connection, this relationship, as you do within this program with this woman. No matter that, you know, the environment that you're in where you're trying to build and cultivate this marriage is kind of toxic, but he still was like, I'm going with it, I'm going with it, I'm going with it. So, yeah. I don't know about them two. I really don't. I really don't. Anyway, we'll move on. Tim is basically pissed because they did spend the night apart, Tim and Sarah did. And he's pissed because she didn't even apologise to him. She didn't even phone him, text him, nothing. She didn't check up on him. She didn't even communicate with dude after she decided to walk the fuck away from the table because she was getting blasted left, right and centre. And rightfully so, to be fair. Because at the end of the day, she made the decision to come on this program because she wanted to get away from the toxicity that was her ex, from the constant back and forth that was with her ex all the time, even to the point where she slept with him a month before she came on this show. She wanted to get away from that. She wanted to change, and she hoped that she'll be paired with someone that she'd be able to gel with, which is Tim at the end of the day. But she didn't even really give him a chance because my girl, I think, was still stuck on the shit that was her ex at the end of the day. No one can tell me no different, because that's where I think her mind was at. She weren't ready or willing to give this man a go, and everything Tim did pissed her the fuck off at the end of the day. So when she was at the wedding at the beginning and Tim made it clear, like, you know, the situation with his ex and how she cheated on him, and the fact that it hadn't been that long ago that they broke up because he was actually planning to ask this girl to marry him, and then she turns around and she was a bit miffed by that. That was called projection. Sarah at that point was projecting onto Tim in terms of when she said, well, I know what it's like to not be over an ex. Yes, we all fucking know now, don't we, love? We all fucking know now what it's like not to be over an ex, even when you're on a show and you're married to someone else. Yeah. So then it moves to Jack and Tori. You see them two on the chair and they're having a conversation as time is going on. And Jack is saying that, you know, he's made these mistakes, but thinks that everybody needs to move on from what he's done and what he said, because that's in the past. He's not like that, you know, X, Y and Z. And I'm like, I don't know how many times that this man can be in the melee of people's bullshit. Like, seriously, everything that comes up that is drama filled revolves around Jack and the shit that he says and does. Every time they keep telling Tori, this man is no good for you. They keep showing Tori who this man is. Jack is even showing Tori who he is to her, and she still ignores the warning signs. So she talks about the fact that she had Jack's back at the dinner party, but she was not okay with the comment that Jack made to Tristan. And I'm like, but you didn't voice that at the table. You had his back at the dinner party and not even you pulled him up. Yes, she's pissed off with Jack now. And I believe that Tori is one of those people where she will make good in front of people's faces. You two are united front of people's faces because you don't want other people to see the issues that you're going through. But when you get home, well, be tired. I'm gonna tear that ass up. Basically, that's I'm thinking who Tori is. But the times that they need her to speak up, she won't speak up. She will literally keep hanging on this guy like a limpet and showing people that she doesn't necessarily say or care about what the fuck they say about Jack, as long as the shit is between, all she cares about is the shit between her and Jack. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Because when your husband keeps on saying things outside of your rotted marriage, either A, to make you look stupid, B, to make other people look stupid, or C, to be fucking insulting, you need to pull your man up on that shit. Like, seriously, pull him up on that shit. Stop accepting things as the status quo because you want to keep it between you yourself and I. Ain't gonna work that way. Not when everybody keeps coming at you like sideways, and it's always to do with your rotted husband Jack. So Tori and Jack were having this conversation, and he did realise that Tori was pissed at him, and he didn't want Tori to be pissed at him. And he was basically saying that if they don't have trust, then they don't have nothing, basically. And he was going on with the vein that, but this is who I am. And again, this man is showing Tori who the fuck he is time and time again. But you know what? This must be her lot in life. At the end of the day, as she keeps on saying, she's let go of too much to stop this shit right now. Do you know what I mean? She came here to be married, and she's leaving married. So all I'm saying is Jack better hold on to whatever the fuck he's gonna hold on to, because Tori ain't going nowhere. So he turned around and then says, I made mistakes, but do you make mistakes? I bet you do, is what he said to Tori. And I said, I mean, this is Jack all over. He don't accept responsibility for the shit that comes out of his mouth. And he expects his wife to keep batting for him. And this is what he's going to keep doing, because he knows Tori's going to have his back, regardless of what the fuck he says and what the fuck he does. But she don't see that. She really don't see that. This man don't want her. This man is not attracted to her. This man hasn't even thought about jumping the bones off her, because he doesn't like her. He doesn't see her like that at all. Anyway, we'll move on. Tristan is basically feeling absolutely positive. He's literally told Cassandra that he's falling in love with her, but from when you see how Cassandra is absolutely down, and nobody, from what I seen, even coming to the confessions of the couch, was picking up on the vibes that Cassandra was putting down. I mean, Tristan was peppy as fuck, like absolutely peppy as fuck. And as Cassandra said to the producers, she does not love Tristan, and she doesn't think that she would have that love for Tristan. I believe it was there in the beginning. The initial attraction for them was there in the beginning, and she had all this hope that this is how this marriage is going to work, in terms of how they're going to gel, communicate, be intimate with each other, and this X, Y, and Z. She didn't exactly get what she signed up for in that sense. So each time Tristan, as I said, kept going back into his shell, his tried and trusted position, his default positioning was literally pushing Cassandra away from him. And that's what's resulted now to the fact that Cassandra's literally stayed in a place where she doesn't have no feelings for this man no more. And he's not listening to her and trying to build on those feelings for her, trying to give her what it is that she's seeking and needing from him as her husband. But yet he's in a completely different space, and he's absolutely oblivious to the shit that his wife is going through right now. Because you know what, I kind of think that as long as Tristan is okay, and Tristan is in this space of happiness, then everything around him is okay. But again, that's not how it works. Cassandra is basically saying that she wants to try her best to not hurt him, but she believes that what she's going to do next will hurt him. And she does write leave on that card. They actually do show her writing leave on that card, so we know what's coming. So then we see Tim go to see Sarah, and I thought, oh bloody hell, here we go. What the fuck has she got to say now? The pessimistic side of me is going to say that she only went to go out to see Tim to save face. Because my thing is you left that dinner party and you left him behind. From that night, you two slept separately. Not once during that time did you go see Tim, did you go knock on his door. But now you know the confessions of the couch is coming up. You then make your way to go knock on his door. Rather telling behaviour with us, Sarah, don't you think? So she goes up, and basically she wants to have a chat with him. She wants to try and clear the air with him, to try and basically want to say that she wants to try and work things out with Tim, X, Y, and Z. So Tim basically turns around and says, when he's talking about the incident itself, he talks about the aspect of her basically getting all gussied up to go meet her ex, and talks about her asking Eden for a dress. Now, instead of Sarah thinking, okay, whatever, like, yes, I did do that and I apologize, I just want to try and speak to it or listen to what it is that Tim was going to say, or listen to the fact that he is hurt, he is upset, and he's venting right now. She decides to focus on the fact that he turned around and said that she asked for a dress, and she was like, oh no, I didn't. I did not ask for a dress. I asked for a jumper. Who the fuck cares what you fucking asked for? At the end of the day, you was not getting ready to go out on a date with your husband. You was getting ready to go out on a date with your ex without telling your husband. So who the frick cares what you asked for, whether it be dress, jumper, jeggings, whatever the fuck? Who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? And that's the problem with Sarah. That is absolutely the problem with Sarah, because she starts getting defensive again within this conversation. She gets defensive, she overspeaks Tim, won't let him speak, and then at the end of it, when she's clearly not getting her way, she goes up and says, oh, I can't deal with this, I gotta leave. Again, running away from the situation at hand. She needs to stop doing that, because if she's really true in her intentions, she would work with Tim properly. She's really true in her intentions of wanting to work through her marriage, wanting to be with Tim. And it ain't just about her trying to fix her image and wanting to stay on the show to show people that, you know what, I am not a bad person. I will show people that I'm not a bad person. This ain't the way to go about it. That's all I'm saying. This is not the way to go about it. And that's why I'm saying Tim needs to write leave on that card. Even if it's to give her a warning. Do you know what I mean? He needs to write leave on that card. But to be fair, I don't know how he could stay from when someone's done something that heinous to you, like literally texting her ex behind his back, full-on conversations, because you know they had full-on conversations for it to get to the point that, you know what, they decided that they were going to meet up. Because my thing would be, what was the premise of you meeting up? Because obviously, and it will come up in the conversations of the couch, as friends, even if he is your ex, you wouldn't then sleep with him. You wouldn't sleep with him, to be fair. But you slept with him a month before coming on this show. So that kind of tells you the status of their relationship. Kind of the in-between beat. She is your ex, but you're saying he's your friend, but he's still majority, I can't even say the fucking word. Majority of it is, he's your booty call. That's what he is. He's Sarah's booty call, and Sarah is his booty call. But then it's kind of fucked up, because apparently according to Sarah, he's the one in the relationship. But oh wait, no, she lied about that too. He ain't in no relationship. He ain't. She just wanted to cover her ass as per usual. So then we get to the first couple on the couch, and it is Lucinda and Tim. You don't necessarily all the time see Lucinda and Tim actually gravitate towards each other, even if they are doing well in a relationship. When they get on the confessions of the couch, you see Tim on one side and Lucinda's there. They don't necessarily touch, but they do have that silent communication with each other. So it's kind of hard. It was kind of a hard watch, because Tim was like faltering in terms of his emotions that he was clearly feeling throughout discussing the situation that happened at the couples retreat, in regards to him actually opening up, and literally the floodgates just opened, and he literally had to talk about exactly what happened to trigger him. And it was the card game that triggered him in order to get to that point, in regards to the question that was asked to Jaden, what would be your worst nightmare or something like that, and he said losing his family. And that triggered him, because at the end of the day, as he said, he is the only one left. He has no family at all. So Lucinda can't falter. She's always been by Tim's side. She will always prop this man up. And again, he got full on emotional. He even made the Iron Lady Tori cry at the end of the day. All I'm going to say with Tori and Tim is, yes, they may butt heads, but I think secretly, as Tim has already said, they have a lot of respect for each other. I think because they're both direct individuals, they do have that kind of respect for each other. So again tonight, Lucinda pulls him up, and he said that Lucinda had his back throughout all of it, and he just realised, I think with him saying that, he's realised exactly what he's got in Lucinda. And as I said, I've always said Lucinda's a cracker of a lady. It's about time Tim caught up to that fact. Do you know what I mean? So it's the hope that their relationship now moves into the romance and physicality side of it, but we'll see how that goes. And their decision was to stay. Lucinda did request from Tim a hug a day. Basically, she did request from Tim a hug a day, and he said fine, that he's going to do that. He's not forced in doing that, he would do it. So then the next couple up was Eden and Jaden. All I saw was Sarah was giving them rotted evils, and I thought, at the end of the day, my girl, you need to suck your eyeballs back into your head, because that shit needed to come out. Because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Eden or Jaden, that information would never shown the light of day. It would have never shown the light of day in the slightest, because Sarah would not have told him what she did, because she, after a week, got comfortable that Eden didn't say nothing, unbeknownst to her behind closed doors, that Eden had spoken to Jaden. Jaden was apparently with her when they'd had that text conversation, and Jaden wanted to tell Tim then and there what the fuck was going on, but Eden said no, and literally they started to have arguments amongst themselves in regards to how and when Tim should know about this situation with Sarah and her ex. So that's why it got to the point where Eden said she was so anxious that, you know what, she had to choose. Either she's protecting this person over here who she called a friend within this experiment, or she's going to protect the sanctity of her marriage at the end of the day, because as she was saying, their morals and how they view things aligned, and they'd both been in a position where their exes had cheated on them, and she certainly wouldn't have wanted that for Tim. So Eden felt that she was in a lose-lose situation, and Tim said no, actually you wasn't, but he appreciated the fact that Eden came to him with that information, because it was information that needed to be known. It weren't a need to know type of thing. He needed to know that information to him in order for him to make an informed decision of where the fuck his marriage is going to go at the end of the day. So now that information's out, Eden just feels like a giant weight has been lifted off her, to be fair. And they have both said that their relationship is a lot better, and their decision was to stay, of course. So the next couple up was Tristan and Cassandra. I have to do that because it was hard. This one was hard to watch. And I think the reason why it was hard to watch for me is because nobody, even the experts, could see literally how down Cassandra was, literally how withdrawn that poor girl was. Tristan was waxing poetic in the fact that, you know, he told her exactly where he was. He told her that, you know, he thought he was falling in love with her. And even though he'd said that, poor Cassandra didn't know where to put herself at all. The feelings, as I said, were there for Cassandra in the beginning. I don't doubt that. But as time has gone on, especially with Tristan being hot, cold, and not giving her the affection that she's looking for, those feelings have just started to wane. Because at the end of the day, you have to cultivate those feelings with your partner. If you're not cultivating those feelings with your partner, then they're not going to be sitting there thinking, what else is it that I'm prepared to do? How long am I prepared to wait? Those feelings start to dwindle day after day after day, and that's what Tristan did not realise. So when they actually do get to Cassandra, she honestly didn't know what to say at all. She basically said that she wished she felt the same in regards to Tristan's revelation of being in love with her, but it's just not there for her. They asked her, does she see it as a possibility? And Cassandra basically says that she's not sure. Cassandra was so despondent. As I thought in my head, her body was there, but her spirit, her soul had left. Like, I think her spirit and her soul literally sitting there looking at her as she was looking at the experts and trying to explain what it is that she was feeling. She could not put it into words, and I felt really, really bad for her, to be fair. And I do think the experts kind of glossed over the situation that she's in right now, even though John turned around and said, like, we've told you that you are literally on the precipice of losing Cassandra and you have to work at it. I don't think they've done enough in terms of working with them as a couple properly. I just think they glossed over the issues, because Cassandra did write leave and Tristan did write stay, and straight away Tristan was on the I didn't see what she just wrote, I'm going to carry on like we both wrote stay, and everything's hunky-dory, it's all great, everyone's looking good, now let's go. Where John had to literally slow him down and let him know that with how things are going, we told you before that you will be at a point where you start losing this woman, and he is. And Cassandra's a great catch, but it's the advice that they then give him that, you know, during this next week now, it's time you've both got to pull your fingers out, and I'm thinking, no, this is not how you deal with a couple or a person that's in crisis. And at the end of the day, Cassandra was in crisis because she was literally despondent, and no one picked up on that fact. And for me, that's why this one with these two hurt that little bit more, because I'm like, they could have at least given her the time to unpack what it is that she was feeling, to get Tristan to understand where she's coming from, because I still even now don't think he fully understands where the fuck she's coming from. So then the next couple up is Richard and Andrea. Ain't looking good for them. Ain't looking good for Richard and Andrea at all. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, there was the time that, you know, Richard was ill, so he couldn't go to the dinner. He was more quiet, less boisterous, and Andrea actually liked that Richard. And Richard was kind of saying, well, what does that say about us if she was only getting half of who I am? Because that's not who I am. That's only half of me when I'm not well. So Richard was making the complaint that they hadn't intimately kissed for 5 or 6 weeks. I'm just like, it's as the experts say, them two are not listening to each other. Them two are a different playing field altogether. And all I can see that the situation went tits up when Richard overshared, like honestly overshared in regards to their sex life. And I think it was because, you know, the other couples were like, oh, and he was kind of showing off a little bit. But I don't think he understands how embarrassing that was for Andrea. Like, see, he does not understand how embarrassing that was for Andrea at the end of the day, when she's not that much of an open book to people. She doesn't need people 24/7 when we sit down on the rotted couch for you to tell them that you're licking me here, there and everywhere. At the end of the day, Richard does not see that in the slightest. The Mel says that there is a disconnect between them and they are not listening to each other. And as I said, no shit Sherlock. No shit Sherlock. I'm just like, this is another couple that really needs to give up the ghost. Like, seriously, really needs to give up the ghost, because I don't see where else it can go to for these two. I don't see where they're going to be able to bridge the gap without support from the experts to see where it is that they're going wrong. I don't think it's going to work, because they're both too long in the tooth. Like, Tim is too long in the tooth, that they're set in their ways in regards to how they think, how they view, how they speak, how they do X, Y, and Z. So they decided to stay to try and work the situation out. So the next couple up was Jonathan and Lauren, I should say. There wasn't really much to say about them in this situation. Actually, the couples retreat went really well with them. Lauren believes that there is some kind of future for them, and they both said that they're getting closer to each other. All I'm going to say, right, before I say it, yeah, their decision was to say. All I'm going to say, yeah, is as I'm going through these episodes, because I know I've had information because I try and stay away from the videos of people that I follow that are a lot much further ahead on this show than us over in the UK are, because we got it pretty late in the day. Okay, but the information that I'm having filtered through to me does not put Jonathan in a very good light. I'm not, if people haven't seen or know what's happened in regards to that, that's why I'm kind of like, I have to still play it as though I don't know the information, but I already know the information with Jonathan and his bullshit. So this all feeds into the fact of, you're saying all of this, but then I'm questioning, is this the time where you Jonathan, I should say, continued to have this text back and forth conversation with Ellie after she'd left the experiment? Bearing in mind that I do know that Ellie had said that she began texting Jonathan when it was, I think it was at the last Confessions of the Couch, where Lauren and Jonathan, or Lauren had said that they're not connected with each other in any way, shape or form at this moment in time because of the situation that happened between herself and Jack, and the situation where Jonathan literally did not have her back in the slightest. And I'm thinking, if that's the case, yeah, you two started your conversation from then. How in the fuck can you be sitting there in front of these people with your broad back self, Jonathan, and telling them, agreeing with Lauren that you see some kind of future with you and Lauren, when you know that's not the truth? Yeah. And it's kind of, yeah. I'm just going to go on to the next couple. Which is Jade and Ridge. Jade talks about the fact that Ridge met her daughter Renee, and also the fact that they had the best time at the couples retreat. All I can say is there's not much to say about them. Ridge can be quite immature sometimes, but also, as he's shown, can be quite mature at times, and can surprise people with how, articulate he can be and how he talks, and that fact that he kind of thinks about things before he says them. At times. I would say at times. But anyway, their decision was to stay. And then the next couple up we have is Michael and Stephen. And basically Michael explained how their relationship had gone downhill, and he talks about the publicity shoot. And all I'm going to say is, no matter the shit that Stephen says to play away the situation between him and the hairdresser, ain't going to sit right. He treated Michael like shit, knowing full well that Michael's already been rejected throughout this process, and then you add on to that. So I really do think, in my humble opinion, that Stephen did feel something for Michael at the wedding, and it wasn't until Michael turned around and was truthful to Stephen and said, you know what, I was matched previously, that the issue started for Stephen. Because I think before then he was all in with Michael, but he still had that nugget in his head believing that he continued to be second best. So he started to think of, this is my opinion, started to think of excuses to put in front of how he was feeling as to why he will not connect with Michael. I don't think it had anything to do with attraction. I don't think it had anything to do with Michael being more feminine than what he's expected. He did not move on from that nugget of information, and that's how I'm going to see it at the end of the day. You can agree to disagree with me, but I think that's the way it went. I really do. So basically Michael said that Stephen has crushed him, and you hear Ridge in the background saying that Michael's not had a good run of it at all. And for Michael, he said that he just can't anymore. He can't do this anymore. And so he weren't willing to change Stephen's mind. So the decision time was they both wrote leave. I don't know why everybody acted shocked by that, because it was the only inevitable decision that could be made in this situation. So we move on to the next couple. Tori and Jack. Tori and Jack. They're so arrogant. That's all I can say. They're just so arrogant. They really are. They are. And I don't think they're really there to gain advice from the experts. I don't think they're really there to listen to anybody else in regards to what it looks from the outside into their marriage. I think they're just at a point where, yeah, we've met each other. Yeah, it's working for us. We don't really need to be here. We don't really need your help. We're just biding time until we get to the end, because I know we are going to walk off with each other at the end of the day. No matter if it's a good decision or a bad decision, we're just going to walk off with each other at the end of the day. Anywho, Tori was absolutely pissed on that couch with Jack. Jack said the couple's retreat was a tough one. No shit, Sherlock. We all saw that it was a tough one because you can keep your rotted mouth shut. At the end of the day, you couldn't keep yourself out of trouble. And that's why the retreat was a tough one, because again, Jack's name was brought up and reared its ugly motherfucking head. Anywho, Tori says it was just one thing after another with Jack. The whole comment about the whales and stuff like that was off-putting. She's heard his apologies, but she wants to see action from here on out. But they will, as they always do, continue to keep a united front. So I don't understand how Tori can say that she wants to see action from Jack and see that he means his apologies in order not to say the shit that he says or do the shit that he does, when you continue to show this man a united front. Because he's going to continue to do what he's going to do because you accept that behaviour by continuing to show a united front with this dude. Hey ho. So John basically puts it all out there for Jack and lists everything that this man has done since he set foot into this motherfucking experience. So number one, Jack said, he came in on a clouded date following the story with his ex, which is very true. And number two, the fact that he called Lauren essentially a dog with a muzzle comment. Then John went on to number three. He tells people that if there is a white swap week, that you could sleep with my wife. He gives that ultimate agreement for men to do that because he didn't want to do it himself. And as John is listing off these issues, Tori's looking more and more uncomfortable at the minute, because it's like, yes, you are having the truth thrown right in your face, so deal with it. This is the first time on the couch that I've seen Tori and Jack sit so far apart from each other. But Jack and his body language is still faced towards Tori, so he's still going to make a case for Tori because he still believes that he'll be able to win Tori over. So the next point he brings up, the whale comments. And I'm like, hold on. Don't forget he told Lauren to shut up when Lauren was trying to talk and Tori had to tell him to stop. And the fact that he gave Tristan a piss poor apology, but don't bring that up. So John turns around and says, you might think I'm done, but I am not. And Cassandra was like, oh, there's more. And I'm like, Jack's face got so red that it felt like, it looked like his skin was about to peel off his body. That's how red this man got. And I'm just kind of like, I wonder if he's sweating. This man was sweating. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't really saying a word. Neither one of them was saying a word at this point, because both of them looked hella uncomfortable. So Jack, as I would say, got royally blasted by John. And John said the only difference why Tori is moved from you and is pissed at you is she has cottoned on to your ways. But I'm like, John, has she really though? Has she really? Because I don't think she has. I really don't. Because people have been saying this shit to Tori episode episode after episode after episode, day in, day out, day in, day out. And Tori's not cottoned on to his ways at all. She tells people not to insult her intelligence. And she believes if this man was wasting her time, then she would not be here. So no. I don't think she's cottoned on to your ways. I think it was just uncomfortable hearing everything that Jack has done wrong listed in the way that it was listed in front of her face, because she couldn't run from it. She couldn't deny it. And Jack couldn't talk his way out of it. So yeah. So Jack is basically saying that he will say no more shady comments and that he wants to make it up to Tori. So Alessandra asked Tori, do you trust Jack? There was the longest pause and Jack was looking at her, and Jack turned around and then says to Tori, do you trust me? And Tori said that element of trust is in question. Now, I found it quite weird that the expert asked Tori, do you trust Jack? And there was the longest pause. And as soon as Jack turned around and says to her, do you trust me, is when Tori answered that question. So Alessandria said, people will show you who they are and you are seeing behaviours. Alessandria is basically veiledly warning Tori exactly who Jack is. Do you think that woman took any kind of notice of what Alessandria is saying? Her actions spoke hell to the no, but she says she's an intelligent woman, so hopefully it's soaked into her cerebral cortex. But we shall see as time goes on. So the decision, Jack straight away said stay. Tori freaking stuttered into it by basically saying that she needed not to hear Jack shit anymore. She needed him to show action now, in terms of the apologies, the this, the that. He's going to change, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. She needs the action from him now, because him giving word lip service to it ain't going to work for her no more. But she did say to stay. And Alessandra again gave her a second warning and said that she needed to pay attention to what she is seeing. I don't know if it dropped for Tori, but hey, I will see. So the last couple up was Sarah and Tim. I know this was going to be a doozy, I say, of a whole scenario. So John weren't beating around the bush. My man goes in for the kill. So he says to Sarah what happened. So Sarah's blasé as you please. She don't start at the dinner party and the situation that occurred there. She basically talks about the whole situation at the couples retreat and how close they were. And then she goes to the dinner party and told Tim that she met up with her ex. And that was it. I was like, okay. Okay. That was the condensed version, was it? So they said to Sarah, why did you meet up with your ex? She says there was no specific reason behind it. I call bullshit. Because people always have a reason for what they're going to do. Even if it's not showing to them straight away, subconsciously they over have a reason for what it is they are going to do and how they're going to action it out. So Sarah definitely had a specific reason behind why she was going to meet her ex. Not necessarily thinking about the message that would send to her ex, like, you are leaving an experiment in which you are married to another dude. Not just seeing another dude, you are married to this dude. You both have made vows, put on wedding rings, a whole kibosh. But you fucked that off to go meet your ex. Yeah, we'll move on. So they asked her, what kind of relationship do you have with your ex? Sarah has the cheek to say it's a friendship. This girl's having a laugh. This girl is literally she's literally tried to convince everybody that she's just friends with a man that she slept with a month before that she came into the experiment, with a man that she's always said she has history of going back and forth with and hard to let go of, and that's the reason why she came into the experiment. I'm sorry, these people are nuts. Like, honestly, these people are nuts. So she said she had kind of been going out with her ex, but there was no label on it. So Sarah agreed, yes, she had been going out with her ex, but she said that was for the first 4 years. And then Sarah says she didn't hook up with him after that. But I was like, my girl, you hooked up and you told everybody that you'd already hooked up with this man a month before the freaking experiment. So that's not you not hooking up with him after 4 years. You did. You honestly did. Way before that. Way after that. Someone's telling lies. And this is why I'm saying Sarah is not a good liar. Because the only sign of a good liar is if they can remember the first lie they told in the beginning and continue to embellish but continue to keep that first lie going. That's the sign of a good liar. Sarah is not that adept. And she is coming off as a fool. More so, she's making Tim look like a fool. But we shall move on. So Alessandra called her out on that. But she had no choice but to say yes. She did hook up with him a month before. So John was kind of looking ready to jump in. And it's just like, at this point, Tim hadn't really said much. He hadn't. Because everybody was literally champing at the bit to go at Sarah and her bullshit at the end of the day. So Tim is just like, where can I go at this point? It's just painful. Like, seriously, it's just painful at this point. So John turns around and says to Sarah that friends don't get naked and have sex. And I was like, okay, is that you though, John? Is that you just pulling Sarah out on the fucking floor and saying, you know what, you're gonna hear what's being said tonight, my love. So they turn around and ask Eden what the texts were. Eden said that Sarah wanted to borrow a dress and that she was going to meet her ex with the shh emoji. And Eden said, if it was just friends, why would you want to borrow a dress? Sarah looked like she was ready to panic. You are not on the winning end of this. You need to just get through this process right now and listen to what the fuck the people are saying around you at the end of the day. Yes, you might not like being called out on the carpet because that's not in your nature, but you fucked up, Sarah. Sarah fucked up at the end of the day. And she has to get her just desserts and accept responsibility and accountability for her actions and how those then impacted upon Tim. So John asked Sarah, if you are just friends, why would you borrow a dress to wear to meet with your ex? So John underneath his breath said, that's a good question. And Jaden says, because he's not friends. Yeah, but we already know this. We already know that Sarah's ex was not her friend. They were fuck buddies. They were. Truly were. Sarah said she wanted her ex to know that she was doing well. And Tim turned around, and this is when Tim responded with, if you wanted to show him how you was doing, you would have took me there. I was like, no. Better yet, my love. She would have said to him, I can't hang with you, I'm hanging with my husband. She wouldn't have to take you there on no whatever degger thing that was with her ex. She would have told her ex from the communication that they had, I can't meet you because I'm hanging with my husband. That's what she could have done. So they asked Sarah, does she have feelings for her ex? Sarah says no. And I'm like, but your behaviour says otherwise, my love. Again, Sarah starts getting defensive because at this point, everybody from the peanut gallery, as I say, the rest of the couples like Ridge and I think Jaden started to jump in and question her and X, Y and Z. She gets defensive. She don't want nobody coming in between her and her relationship with Tim. This is her it's her and Tim on the couch now. She's concentrating on Tim. She don't give a shit what anybody else is. At the end of the day, they can have their opinion, but her juxtapose her relationship, everything that she's got to do is to do with Tim, which in itself is kind of right. She's the one that's got to convince Tim that she's on an even keel, that she didn't mean to do what she did. She's got to rebuild that trust with Tim at the end of the day, but the others are not convinced. So as this debacle continues, Tim is basically then spoken to and said that his impact for him was devastating, and the whole bigger picture of the experiment, he believes Sarah didn't want to be there. He believes that Sarah doesn't value or respect him as a person in her life. And this is where Sarah was looking at him like he was crazy. And I could see that Sarah literally wanted to shut this man down, but she couldn't. She couldn't at this time, because this was Tim's truth. She needed to hear the hard truth of what Tim was saying, but she wanted to be able to shut him down like she always does. So Tim was basically not sure if anything happened between her and her ex, but he has done this dance before, and basically she's killed his self-esteem. She got called out completely on her behaviours. So Sarah again tries to blame Tim in regards to not the fact that why she didn't want to tell Tim about her texting or meeting up with her ex. Again, absolute fucking bullshit, because she's trying to save face. Everybody fully calls her out. And it's kind of like, at this point, you still ain't said sorry to this man. Tim basically turned around and said, you just left me with no follow-up, nothing at all, and you didn't speak to me afterwards. What is he supposed to think? So John tells her that if Sarah didn't change her behaviour, she will find it hard for someone to date her. So Sarah said yes, agreed with that, but I think she gave him way too easily. She doesn't accept any accountability, really, and I think she has been this way. She's definitely been this way for too long. So as I don't think anybody's literally called her ass out in anything, and she probably learned her bad habits from her ex. That's how I'm gonna say it. So then Jaden piped up and says that Sarah presents us differently on the couch than she is behind closed doors. So basically Jaden was triggered by Sarah's behaviours and how it impacted him and Eden. And I'm just like, these people are just digging this girl out left, right and centre right now. Left, right and centre, they're digging this girl out. So then Tim starts to speak up. So tell me why this girl literally jumps over Tim to get her point across. And this is the fucking problem that the people keep bringing up about Sarah. Like, seriously keep giving up about Sarah. And I'm just like, if this man stay, then there's no hope. There's no hope at all. So Stephen does call Sarah out for her behaviour by basically saying, you said you wanted to fix things with Tim, you wanted him to have his voice, X, Y and Z, but yet you still talked over him when he was trying to talk. And Sarah was like, no, she was really hella defensive. I didn't do that. I'm like, yes, you did, love. You did. The man was talking and you literally jumped over him because you hadn't finished trying to continue to make a point when you should have stepped back, shut your mouth and let Tim speak. Because he's the injured party, not you. So Jade turned around and said, your first initial reaction should have been, I'm so sorry. And believed that if Sarah stays, then she is staying for herself. And I was like, these people are not giving Sarah an inch at all. So it came to the decision. And Sarah basically said that she doesn't care what anybody else says. She knows what she wants to do and she wrote stay. I believe that her writing stay was kind of selfish and cruel of her, especially if she wasn't true in her intent in trying to make this work with Tim and to ensure that he trusted her again, because she only had a week in which to do it. So I'm wondering, okay, what is it that you are going to do to change this scenario that's happening for you right now? I kind of think it was piss poor that she did right stay, but I know with these shows, it's literally like, you know, everybody's like, push, 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 you gotta stay, you gotta stay. Even if it's a toxic situation, they still expect you to stay and try and work that shit out, and sometimes it can never happen. It's only on the rare occasion that I've seen happen that they ask these people to leave. So Tim basically chose self-preservation and wrote leave, and I thought, you know what, well fucking done for you, Tim. And so John talked about what that meant for Sarah, and he turned around and said to Sarah, you need to turn to Tim and tell Tim what is it that you are going to do within the next week to make it up to him. So Sarah was like trying to make a joke of it and make light of it. You can't in that situation. And saying, oh, you've put me on the spot. Within that whole, I wouldn't even say it was a 2-second discussion that she had with Tim, she didn't say anything about what she was going to do to change the scenario in order to like get Tim to a point that she can be trusted, to get Tim to a point to see that there's merit in trying to make their marriage work. She didn't say not a bean of what she was going to do. She just apologized to Tim, even though she should have done that ions ago rather than just on the couch because she got motherfucking called out for it. Yeah, nah, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And the fact of it is that John accepted how she turned to him and literally didn't do what he'd instructed her to do. Even everybody, the other experts were like, huh? And even the peanut gallery was like, But there was nothing there. There was nothing of substance there. And that's what has me questioning Sarah at the end of the day. So that's where this episode ended. And then in the next episode, it is feedback week. It looks hella explosive, but we'll see how that goes. As I always say, my renegades and all those of you that view my videos, thank you for rocking with me thus far. But I am on the road to 1K, so I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. Comment, chat, you know, all the good stuff. And I'll be back very, very soon with the next one. Peace out.